is Gene Bohensky, CEO of Archer's Contact Solutions and Archer Strategies. Title of this webinar today is going to be Stop Doing $10 an Hour Tasks, Hire a VA, and Reclaim Your Time. We're going to talk about how you're going to use virtual assistants. So the purpose of this webinar, we're going to help you unlock the possibilities of using virtual assistants for your business and show you the best way to do it. So just a couple of words about our company. Archer's Contact Solutions was started now just 2 years ago. In 2023, we have a location in Das Marinas in the Philippines. I'm here located in New Jersey, but our operations are in the Philippines. And our specialties are executive virtual assistants, lead generation programs, and outbound calling. The main difference between us and other companies is that all of our agents and staff are trained especially to help business owners. They're all full-time employees working out of an office, and that provides a lot of benefits in terms of being able to guarantee the reliability of the assistant. And we have also proprietary advanced personality and skills matching that enables us to guarantee a good fit. That's what makes us different. In the past, people used to have secretaries and dedicated clerical workers helping them in their jobs. There was low-cost local labor available. Summer help was available. People wanted to work for companies and would try to get in at a low cost just to learn. And you had inexpensive and motivated college grads. Well, of course, today that's no case. Our biggest challenge in the United States is the difficulty of finding workers who will work well and are at prices that we can afford as business owners. So today, the problem is you got to do everything yourself, right? For most business owners and small businesses, there's just not enough time to do all the work that you need to do. And the business owners themselves end up working 80 or 90 hours a week, struggling to do everything themselves. And as soon as you get a little bit of money, you have enough money to earn to make your first hire, that hire needs to pay for themselves fast. And that means all those tasks that you needed to get done are still not being done because your workers are doing other things. So the $10 an hour work does not get done. So what are the $10 an hour tasks? So I define them as all the things you are doing now that are taking you away from your number one job, which is to grow the business. And I like to talk about there being two buckets of tasks. The one bucket on the left is all the things that you should no longer be doing. You're busy in your business. You got to focus on growth, maybe doing the work, maybe managing people. But there's all these things that you're still doing that are taking you away from the main focus of your business. And then because you don't have time, there's another bucket of tasks. And those are all the things that you don't have time to do. They could be sales initiatives. It could be following up. It could be doing clerical work. You just don't have time to get to it. As a business coach, I see that most of the business owners I know are just drowning in work and have a ton of stuff that is just not getting done. But really the definition of $10 an hour tasks are any task that can be done by somebody else in the cloud for $10 an hour. And that's kind of the real revelation here, is that there's so many things that you are doing and that can be done in your business that is productive for you that can be done for less than $10 an hour overseas. So let's just go through some of them by department or task type. Let's look at sales tasks. I mean, sales are the number one thing we need to focus on to grow our business. But so many times in our businesses, we don't have enough time for the basics, to do good inside sales or extra outbound sales. Cold calling just doesn't get done. Managing your company email inbox sometimes doesn't get done. CRM, a customer relationship management tool. A lot of times people don't have time to use a CRM, to manage the data in the CRM, to do lead research on people that are potential customers. We just don't have time to do it. A big one is following up on old quotes and contacting old customers. If you have an established business, a lot of times that falls by the wayside. One of the clients I have, they're always getting new customers and no one calls back the old ones. So yes, they're struggling to grow, but they're not really following through with paying attention to their former relationships they've built. And also writing quotes and bids. You can do a lot of work. You can offload a lot of work to someone trained that can do this for you uh, overseas. Let's look at administrative and secretarial work. If you're a solopreneur or someone that needs help, you can have a VA manage your calendar, set appointments for you, manage your email inbox, do your travel arrangements, and do any of your other personal assistance that can free up your time. Let's look at marketing. A lot of times, our VAs do content writing. They can do graphic design. They can do web design and web design edits. Today, a lot of times as business owners and small businesses, we are outsourcing these things to outside companies that are charging a fortune for these tasks because we can't do them ourselves or we lack the talent to do that. These are other things that VAs are very good at. Doing video editing, managing your social media calendar, and creating social media posts for your business. In today's world, you want to have a presence in some of these areas, depending on your business. Some are more important than others. But in any case, you can have someone overseas managing and creating this for you, so you're not paying a fortune for it and you're getting it done right. On the financial side, VAs can be very helpful. They do bookkeeping, expense reporting, financial analysis, accounting tasks, organization of records, and preparing your company for taxes. Right? There's a lot of these things that, especially in small businesses, you don't have enough time to do. My experience as a business coach, a lot of businesses are behind on their taxes. They're behind on their record keeping and have inaccurate records. And this is another place where outsourcing this to somebody else can help you. And also on the operations side, providing customer service to your customers, even off-hours customer service. If you have a growing business, someone answering your phone. Is there somebody getting back to your clients? A lot of times they can help you with a help desk or do email and chat support. They can process orders. They can even manage your inventory electronically, and they can also do purchasing for you. So what is the solution? If you're buried in tasks and you don't have the time to do it yourself, your solution is to hire a virtual assistant. But where do you start, right? How do I do that? And this is where it gets a little bit complicated. A lot of people who want a VA don't have one because they can't find one. And a lot of them have tried to find one and had some bad luck with VAs that don't work out. And here's where we can come in and help. So when you find a virtual assistant, there's actually 4 main ways to find a virtual assistant going out there. The first one is to look up for yourself on a freelancer site like Upwork, Fiverr, or Outbounders, where you can hire someone directly or on a project basis. This means that you're responsible to do any of the vetting, do any of the management, and the communication of any of the tasks. This can work well for small projects, but if you want to develop a long-term relationship with someone, it's a little bit more difficult. The second way is you can directly hire a freelancer. That's if you find someone over time that you got to know well, through working through all the freelancer sites and going through all the different people that you've gone through. The reality is you can eventually hire them directly and pay them directly. That is a little bit complicated, and it also is risky because you don't know when that freelancer is going to stop working for you, because oftentimes they won't tell you. They'll just won't show up. The third one is VA provider as a freelancer broker. So most of the big companies that are supplying VAs out there are what I call freelancer brokers. That means they rely on a big list of VAs that they have that are working remotely all over the place. And when you sign up with them, they're going to connect you with someone they have on their list that is working from home. Now that is a little bit different than what we do. The last part is a VA provider as a local employer with the VAs working out of an office. That's what we do, and there's a couple of big advantages to that. The main advantage is that we can hire them. We have strict hiring standards. They work in the office. It means they have to come in and punch in and be on time. They're hired to the local labor laws. That means they have to be on time. They can't just decide not to come in one day. And that's important when you're working with overseas talent because they have very complicated lives and they might be torn between working with their family, having other issues go on. And when you're working with people that are working from home, it's not like working from home in the US where everyone has nice homes, where you have an office, a dedicated office, and you look at it as a job. Overseas, it's a little bit different. Most likely, they're sharing that house with 4 or 5 other people. And when they're working at night, they have their families maybe sleeping on the floor next to them, and they're pulled in all kinds of directions. So by having people work out of an office, you actually allow them to carve out the dedicated time to work for you. And that's one of the reasons why there's a big advantage. In addition to also being able to manage them, coach them, see what they're doing, and actually provide them help to be successful. So how do you select the virtual assistant? This is very interesting. So if you're on your own, you're going to be relying on your own personal interviews, which take more time and is risky. In our experience, we've hired over 150 VAs in these past years. Our experience is that the personal interview has a very low correlation to whether that person is going to be successful in the role. And this is actually something that we find out here in the US when you're trying to hire. My opinion as a business coach, business owners shouldn't be doing their own hiring. It's because you're just not good at it. You just don't do it a lot. You have to outsource that to somebody that knows how to do that. For my business coaching clients, I have a hiring consultant that I provide to my clients to help them hire. For us, for the VA business, we have some very interesting processes that we've developed. First of all, we have very strict hiring standards in our company. That means it's not easy to get in. We also do skills and talent matching. And we also have personality matching. We use a couple of different personality assessment tools that allow us to screen for specific personality types that we know are going to do well as virtual assistants. And this is kind of where our magic comes in. We've been developing this over many years, and we can safely say we could match someone that is going to be motivated, self-motivated, and they're going to work well for our clients. And as a result, we can guarantee that you can find an ideal match in a VA. But in general, if you're going out there finding somebody in another way and you're looking at another VA broker, your success is going to be dependent on their processes, their human resources processes and their ability to do matching. And that's not an easy thing. It's just like trying to find an employee here. If you're trying to hire, it's not easy to hire, and you can easily make the wrong hire. So let's look at VAs for solopreneurs, consultants, and coaches, because I know there's a lot of you guys online and a lot of our clients. So for the VA, could be your first hire, and you need to learn how to delegate and train employees. And I think that it's one of the most important things you can do as a solopreneur or a consultant is to learn how to use a VA. And using a VA is a low cost to learn and to train yourself how to do it. Because if you want to grow, because you always end up going into the consultant's conundrum, right? You get so busy and then you don't have any time for sales. And then you're done with work. So then you have to go back into the sales mode. And so that doesn't really get better until you start hiring people that can get you so a VA is very cost effective because it's 1/3 to 1/4 of the cost of hiring somebody locally, and there's really no risk, a very low risk. There's no long-term contracts, there's no legal issues if you have to fire someone or cancel the contract. So it's an easy way to bring on somebody to help you get your work done. And a lot of you guys, when you start getting busy, this is where it gets hard to get everything done. And I've been there as a coach. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have grown my business without my VAs. I had one early on in my coaching career, and I recommend that a VA on. Now, when it comes to small and medium-sized businesses, it's a little bit different. With them, you actually are looking at carving out or creating roles. And for there, we do a good job in an office of actually being able to provide small teams of people that do different tasks. So that there, the recommendation is to create new positions to focus on specific work that would not be possible with today's employee pay requirements. You know, you could hire a dedicated bookkeeper, an administrative assistant, a sales assistant, or a social media manager, or a CRM manager, or many different type of roles. You can create full-time roles in your business that you wouldn't be able to do here, paying them $60,000 or $70,000 a year, right? If you're paying somebody $15,000, $18,000 a year, you can create multiple roles doing multiple things. And we have a client that has 6 roles from us, and they all work doing different things. One's a bookkeeper, one's in sales, one's in admin, and that's a good way to grow your team and to get work done. Another way is to locally. You might not be able to find that person. You might be able to find that person as a VA, and you'll find that they might be able to do as good a job as they would have done if they were in your office. So making the virtual assistant successful, the VA playbook. This is something that we've developed at our company to really help guarantee the success. What the VA playbook is really a list, a definition of all the tools, processes, procedures, and goals that the VA needs to do well at. And this is part of the onboarding process for us, is developing this VA playbook for every virtual assistant. So first we want to define all the communication methods. How are you going to be communicating with them? Are you going to use Zoom, Slack, or WhatsApp? You're going to have email. Are you going to use emails? What emails do you want to use? What are you going to have a phone number? We can supply a phone number. How frequent do you want to communicate with those? Those all things should be defined and understood. We should also understand all the software. So if you're going to use a CRM, which CRM software you're going to use? Accounting software, what do you use in your business? Design software, whether you're using Microsoft Office, any kind of project management tool, or dialer software that you might have. What we do at our company is make sure that the virtual assistant is trained on this software, and we have specialists in the company, in the office, that can help support them learning that software to make sure they hit the ground running and are experts. Because really what you guys need educated and experienced and motivated VAs that can slip into the role and get things done for you quickly. And we understand that, and the VA playbook helps us get there. The other thing is you want to define your regular tasks. If they're daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, whether they're reporting or actual procedural work. We want to develop standard operating procedures. A lot of times our staff help you define these for your business. And in many times, if you're hiring the VA for the role for the first time, the VA can be used to help define those procedures and goals for your company. And it's also very important to establish early on clear goals and long-term vision for success in the role. So it's important to communicate regularly so that the tasks are understood and success metrics are defined. And if anything that I see, and when I review the different clients that we've had, the ones that are in constant communication with their VAs and are open with that communication are being the most successful. And it's just like if you have an employee in your office, the success is going to be defined by your communication. So some other tips is that you have to have patience, and there's always continuous improvement. So training. You got to train. This is where we help. We have a manager that always helps train. You want to constantly give feedback. You want to watch them, help them learn. There's some cultural differences that you might not be aware of that you'll learn over time. They also have a manager that can intervene if there are challenges. And does your VA provider provide a backup VA in case of emergencies? In our case, we always provide a backup VA and a manager that can help you if there are any issues. And for many people, training is frustrating just starting. In my opinion, something has happened to all of us. We want things to happen real fast. I'm an old guy. When I first started my career 35 years ago, I worked for a valve company, and they put you through a 3-month training program. And they didn't expect you to really return. They didn't expect the return on investment for a full year after hiring. Hey, we have people that want their VA to provide them a return on investment in 1 week. So it shows you how the training and the learning has been compressed and the expectations have been compressed. We expect things to happen fast and immediate, and we try our best to facilitate that within reason. But it's important to understand that when you're developing somebody in the role, that once you found the right person, you want to make sure that they are given. So let's look at some case studies of different clients. We have a lot of success that we can talk about. We have a flooring company that manufactures flooring where we have people doing accounting and sales. We have a luxury magazine franchise where we have multiple agents working for multiple franchise owners doing ad design and customer service. We have an online shoe company where we do chat support and email support. It's an interesting company because they don't have any phone numbers. Everything is done through chat and email only. We have contractors where we actually help them with bid packages and admin work and bookkeeping. We also work with dentists where we have remote office administrators and administrative staff. We work with a lot of business coaches and consultants with admin, appointment setting. Business coaches or consultants, we do a lot of them. I'm also an alternative board coach. I own the franchise, and we provide a lot of coaches to a lot of other franchise owners that help them with their coaching practice. We also have a number of marketing companies where we do web design, SEO, and content writing and video editing for them on an outsourced basis. We also have a medical device company where we have a staff of 6 positions where we do a wide range of things from sales to CRM management. So there's a lot of different ideas. One of the things I want to make sure that you guys understand is you kind of have to conceptualize the possibility of this happening for your business and think about the roles that these people can provide. First of all, they're extremely talented. They're well educated with excellent English, and they do a good job. So if you understand that, then you can kind of see that you can create positions and create roles in your company with things that they can be doing for you. And that's one of the things that we want to say is that these are all $10 an hour tasks that can be doing, because that's really what it ends up costing you. So we have a wide range of clients here that we have even more than this. We have many clients that we've been working with in our, we've been doing this formally for 2 years. We've got over 120 people on our staff, and we're growing every month, helping business owners like you get things done. So today's offer for attendees. So if you're a first-time customer, you can visit archerscontactsolutions.com today and click Get Started. If you fill out the form, you can get 20% off your first month for new customers only. And then you can go through the process. Obligation to work with us and learn and find out whether a VA will work for you. And you could certainly meet some of our VAs. We actually have some of them on the line. I just want to show you our last picture. This is from one of our anniversary galas. We had everybody come together for a big party. Because we all work out of an office, we're all together as one team. And we believe in teamwork and supporting each other. And as a result, we believe we can provide a much better experience for people looking for a VA to help them grow their business. And that's really our mission as a company, is to help business owners like you grow. We're opening up to questions and answers. We have some of our VAs online if they want to talk about their experience working for us. maybe I'll call on Shane. She's my VA. She's my secret to success. And maybe she could say a few words about what it's like to work for us and what it's like to be a VA.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking some time to attend our webinar. We truly appreciate your presence in here. Maybe some of our VAs are calling you starting last week, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm also ringing your line and reminding if you were able to receive our emails. It's actually Jean's email, but I was handling that. So I started working as Jean's caller for his business coach, and then it truly transformed on like presenting or preparing the VA that is suited for your role. So it is truly an evidence that our VAs are evolving depending on what your needs, and they're really flexible. And of course, they do have initiative when it comes to taking off tasks from your table.
I have a comment I would love to share as a happy client for more than a year. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, everyone. Shane, Marge, Sammy. I appreciate a lot. We have 6 people in our team. We are determined to grow. That's like everything that Jean shared here. I strongly endorse, have had excellent experience working, having our archers team, and we would be scaling more as well. Personally, as Jean mentioned, as a business coach myself as well, and Jean is a business coach, we connected very strong heart to heart more than a year back, and then we started scaling our team. Because everything in my last 5 years of consulting with businesses in San Francisco Bay Area, I had learned a lot. We could not scale until I add people in my team who can understand the process that I came up with and scale that process. So the business scaling and growth comes up with everything that Jean shared here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Raheel. Yeah, you've also been a great client. We've
Awesome.
learned a lot from each other.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have any questions? This is really the time to answer your question on if you ever had a VA, or if anyone wants to make any comments, feel free.
I had a couple of questions in. Are all of your VAs, you put them on a full-time basis, or when you talk about, are each one of those full-time? I wasn't clear about what the structure was from that standpoint. Does anyone ever come on a part-time basis?
So we offer, most of the people are with us with us full-time, for full-time agents. We do offer part-time agents that are 20 hours a week, that are half-time. We do that. My experience, however, is that it works best for a full-time agent because that person is 100% committed to you and your business. We hire them all as full-time employees. If they are part-time for you, they're also part-time for somebody else. Right. So, which means they have to divide their attention. And the other thing that happens is that it inevitably, the owners will want to move them to full-time eventually, and then that we have to take that we're obligated to take that person and make them full-time. So it's not as, you don't necessarily will always stick with the same person, and you want to, because in order for this really to work well, having the person commit to you as a full-time employee is a huge benefit, right? There's a huge difference in their ability to concentrate, remember, and train on all the processes and procedures you have.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, as a entrepreneur, it's one thing to say, I have to do bookkeeping, I have to do marketing, I have to do all of these different things. It's another thing to ask that of an employee. So typically people have skills in one or the other, but they don't necessarily want to do both bookkeeping and marketing. Those are really typically opposite people. You don't necessarily find someone that wants to do both of those.
I think that's true. What we do have, what is interesting is that there are quite a few VAs that juggle multiple roles. roles. We have a couple that do bookkeeping and social media. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this is that the Filipinos are the #1 users of social media in the world. And everyone who's in their 20s in the Philippines, they all are really good at it. So, they all naturally come with video editing and graphic design skills because they kind of all use it in their normal lives. And it's hard to explain that, but that's just some of the skills that they have naturally. But to your point, in some cases, we have actually a bookkeeping team, and in some cases, you can add a part. If you're a solopreneur, you probably don't need a full-time bookkeeper. That's probably something that only requires a few hours a day. So that usually is something that we can work out with the book.
Hey, Gene.
Yes.
Gary Marks. I'm glad I attended today. This was I learned a lot, even though we've talked several times. Question I have is around AI. I've been kind of working and struggling somewhat to learn how to use AI. Do your VAs on that area?
That's actually we encourage that that everyone uses AI in their roles. So I've done a bunch of internal training videos to kind of help people in our company use AI for their roles, whether it's general search, whether it's research. The AI tools are very useful for everyone because the reality is that what's interesting is the demographics. Most of the clients, most of our VAs are in the mid to late 20s, early 30s, right? They're tech savvy, college educated, smart, up with the latest trends. Most of our clients, so they want to depend on the younger generation to teach them about this technology, and we kind of try to help facilitate that. We understand that in any of the work that we provide when it comes to learning how to use the software, learning how to use these tools, they all have to be trained to understand these things to actually help our clients, right? Certainly when you're using a CRM tool, project management, or any kind of AI tool, we have to be on the cutting edge of that because our clients expect that.
Good, thank you.
Anybody else have any comments or ideas?
Hey, Gene, Stan Robinson, this has been great. Can you expand a little bit on what it looks like when you're onboarding a new VA?
So yeah, so one of the things that we try to do when we're on, we always assign a manager to the VA and the VA client relationship. And we try to build that playbook right away. So the first thing we try to understand are all the responsibilities, tasks, and requirements that the person needs to do to be successful in the role, just like a job. We try to create a job description for the job. And then we have a manager that kind of facilitates that onboarding process, right? To make sure that there's an understanding between the client and the VA, that they know what they're doing. I mean, a lot of it has to do also with matching, with matching the personalities, things that is really key to make sure that there's a good fit. And especially today, one of the things that we try to do, which I think this is kind of the key of our success in the outsourcing world. A lot of the outsourcing companies, they kind of just look at the person kind of like a robot, and they just make sure that there's just processes and procedures that they have to follow with everything clearly defined, and that there's no room for any personal initiative or engagement. It's just everything is cut and dry. But when you're working with business owners need people that are going to think for themselves and are going to think autonomously and be able to be self-motivated to learn and figure things out. And there's actually some tests that we have, some proprietary tests that we have to determine the agent's ability to work it in that way. And when that's required, we make sure we match that person. So yes, coaching is important, managing is important, and getting the definition of everything that's required is important. But we also want to make sure the person is the right fit, so they can kind of get in there and learn for themselves what they need to do. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Comment?
Gene, this is Jack Cox. I don't have a question, but kind of seeing Stan there. I've been on some calls with our mutual friend. I'll give you. I don't want to reveal his identity, so I'll give you his initials. Andrew Frazier.
Yeah.
So when he's been on with his VA, and it's kind of like take you through the day in the life of having a VA. He says it adds discipline to him. He's on, going over what needs to be done for the day and what he looks to pick up on the following day with his VA. Maybe if you could speak to that a little bit, but Andrew is a big advocate of the function, and it's been successful for him. Day in the life kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think for him, one of the things that he does really well is, he works with his VA throughout the day, right? They meet in the morning. They discuss the tasks that they need to do. She's involved in his business, and there's a really close collaboration. Now that works. That's obviously an ideal way for the way that works, because she fully understands his business, understands what he needs, can end up thinking for him, and really be like your partner. I mean, that's really how the VA can grow. If you're a solopreneur, and the VA can end up being your almost like a business partner. I mean, it's certainly the way it works for me. I talk to Shane 3-4 times a day. I probably drive her crazy, but the point is that if it works when you develop a close relationship with them. Where it doesn't work is where you tell them a couple of things, don't really know whether they got what you said, and then don't talk to them for a week, right? I mean, like we've had clients that do that, and that doesn't work, right? Because you've never really given a chance for the VA to know you and know what you want. And the biggest challenge for anybody is like if I communicate my needs to somebody, you would naturally think, oh, they're when they nod their head and say yes, so they understood everything you said, and they're going to go and do what you said, and you don't have to tell them anymore. And that's just not the way managing people works. So a lot of the times people need to engage with them, work through things with them, do corrections with them, and then eventually you're forming your person, right? You're forming that person to work with you. And he's an excellent example of that working. He has now 3 people with us, working on the financial side, working on more of a technical side, building an application, and somebody doing all his marketing stuff. So he's been able to build an entire team with people doing different things, and I think that's a possibility for anybody else on this call. You can really build a team of people that is going to turbocharge your efforts. I mean, the idea is that you become a leader of a team that is going to implement your vision for the way you want your business to work and the success of your business, right? And there's no other way to do it. You can't hire a team of people here and you afford it, right? So the idea is not just that you are saving money, and you're not just saving money by having them do things. The fact that they are available at that price point allows you to do something that you were never able to do otherwise, right? And I think that's something that transforms the thinking a little bit. I'm not just saving money on getting stuff done. I can build a team at a low cost that can take my vision, take my business to the next level. So thank you, Jack. Anybody else with a comment? Now we have Sammy here. Sammy's our general manager, and I want to make sure that he gets a chance to say a few words.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I don't know if everyone's aware, but I am Gene Wohensky's business partner's son, and I'm their general manager. But I'm no Nepo baby. I've built this company with them since day one, and 3 years before day one. So I've been working with them for a total of 5 years now. And what I can say is, when having a VA, it's really, really important to treat them well. That's personally, I'm spearhead the recruitment. That's one of the things I do here in Archers, and that's the main thing we flag around whenever we are recruiting new VAs in our company. That this is not any other company. Everybody here is, to our best of our abilities, treated well, and the work environment here in the Philippines, the culture is just crazy. I've been there myself. I've experienced it myself in other outsourcing companies. Employees are treated like robots, zero emotions, just pure work, and like zero care at all. And that's not that's the standard here. The bar is on the ground. And one of the good things here is that we also believe that if an employee is treated well, they also perform at their best. And that's what we do here. Not only do we provide them, the due diligence of giving them a competitive work pay or bringing the job a couple of blocks away from their homes. It has not, here in the Philippines, having a great working environment is not a bare minimum anymore. And that's very unfortunate. And that's what we're trying to lead the industry right now.
Yeah, I would say to that, one of the reasons, it works two ways. You can't really provide somebody that is going to, do a great job for you. I mean, as American business owners have expectations of the way people behave. And we have to meet those expectations, but you can't do that if you treat people poorly, right? You need to have people need to be able to freely speak their opinions. They need to be able to engage in the work and take responsibility for want to do a good job. And we feel we enable that with a good company culture. It's something that we really strive to believe, to grow. I actually go out and visit the Philippines on a regular basis and meet with the team, and love doing so because it's a great bunch of people, and try to help foster that good relationship with everybody. And for me, it's been a real life enriching, you know.
Hi, Gene. This is Napoleon. I'd like to say something. Okay, good. Right, and hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the roadshow for Virtual Assistant. I'm one of Gene's VAs. I started with Archers, I think 2 years ago, as a content writer. And what I love about Archers is that Gene is very trusting. He will really trust you, do things that you think you can do, and he will not micromanage you. So from being a content writer, I became one of his salespersons, and then transitioned to what else? Jim? Collector, billing, receivables, stuff like that. And then one of the trainers here. So and what I like about Gene is that he will not grow his team if he's not been very patient with the VAs. And I think that's the bottom line of what he's been telling you since the start of the roadshow, is that you really have to work with your VAs. He allows his people to speak up, and that's what I like about him. He encourages conversations. He actually encourages us to engage and offer ideas, solutions, and he will turn it down. He will really talk to you about the idea and work it out and see how we can actually improve it. So getting a VA is it's not a one-day magic, as what we've been really telling you. It really has to be a relationship building experience, and that's what Jin did, and it's still doing. And now we're about 100, right? And it's because and not I'm not glazing you, Jin, but just a testimony of what you've done and what you've been doing to help archers, to build archers and to grow archers. It's really relationship building. So people out there, business owners, get a VA, but be ready to build relationships too. It's not just business, it's also about relationship building.
Yeah, thank you, Nap. That's true. It's a people business, right? You have to love people and want to see them succeed. And I think one of the things that I was amazed with early on, and this is just a personal story, when I first started with Virginia, my partner, that's 9 years ago. So yeah, the website is Archer's Contact Solutions. It should be up. I just tested it. Somebody said it's not working. Anyway, I appreciate everyone coming. It's been a great journey, and I hope you got something out of it, and hopefully it can help you with your business, to grow your business and to also realize your goals for yourself. Right, that's the biggest thing. Well, helping you reach your goals is what we're all about. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming. Any last words before I sign off? Shane has put the link to the website in the chat, so I'll stay up for a while if everyone. Like I said, if you sign up today for and get started, there's a 20% discount on the first month. If it doesn't work for you, you can also email us today, and we'll do that too. That's for new clients, and we'll be happy